Right, hello, and welcome back to. Oh, sorry about that. Welcome back to WLR Tier 2 here for round 8 in Singapore, which has been conveniently placed on the same one as. Am I in game chat? Why am I in game chat? Ah, well. Anyway. Yeah, welcome back to round 8 of this championship. I just need to quickly sort out the stream link and standings, which I may or may not have still not got out from last week, but it's all good. Yeah, I'm sure no one noticed. As you can probably tell, Jack has, well, he's slacking again. He's not the committed guy that he is not committing to tier 2. It's very, very, very sad. Except he's going to go and take tier 1 if he can, which is a bit annoying. Anyway, let me just put this stream and I'm going to, just for a second, put yous on board with whoever the first car out on track is, which is the reserve driver of Gusk, while I sort out last week's standings. I'll be back in a second. Right, I am back, and I have finally done my job and posted standings from last week. So, I don't know how this lap has gone for Gusk so far, but heading through this new straight line section, which just makes the track, I mean, we might see some overtakes there, that'll be interesting. Though in all honesty, I'm just going to quickly join a party with myself to get rid of that game chat, I think. 1 second. Let's see. I hope it's me talking to myself isn't on stream. Probably is. Oh, well. So, Gusk has gone quickest momentarily with a 30.16, immediately replaced by Dizzy on a 30.06. Not a bad lap. Next car across the line is going to be the Mercedes of. If I see even on stream this back there. Mercedes at Blitztroop will be next across the line. And I just have to try 1 second. Right, so I'm just going to check I can be heard on stream. That'd be tragic. Yeah, I can. So, as well, I finally get going, and Ricky X goes quickest on a 29.6. Not a bad lap. I think we'll probably be getting towards the 28s towards the end of this session. Magnus is already showing that. Is the 28s what we're getting? I think it is. I think my time trial was in the 28s, so I'm assuming these guys will do that as well. Maybe mine was 29s. Either way, we'll expect them to look at this rate with what Magnus is doing. I think we'll be in the 28s. He's had a great first lap there. Next car to cross the line is, though, not... Well, I think the next competitive car across the line is current championship leader of Mipio. Won 6 of 7 races, no, 5 of 7 races this season. And he goes quickest with a 29.1, just displacing Magnus, who has not raced for a couple of weeks now, I think. Looking behind, Blitztroop, I think, is just starting his first lap of the session now. Well, first, he seems to have backed off from his first, unless 4 seconds off is his pace, though I don't think it is. Where's my... Okay, 1 second, I've lost my phone and I kind of need that for this. Yeah, so has... let me just check if this guy has joined. Next car across the line is going to be his days on a lap. I think he might be. His ERS isn't recharging. Sorry about that. So, at the moment Mipio is quickest. Is no one on a lap at the moment? I believe Mipio's on an in lap. Let's just go to the end of his actually. Here he's backed off there. Questionable back off, but we'll ignore it. So next car across the line might be Boss on, but his light is flashing, so he's not on a competitive lap, and that means that no one is currently on the lap. So I'm going to just try and sort this. So at the moment we are riding on board, well not when now we are riding on board with Mipio on his most recent lap of the session so far, and I need to turn on lap data. I've forgotten again, so we don't know if he's on a good lap or not at the moment. I'm sure we'll find that wasn't uploaded as the rest of that. Hopefully, Rafster was able to select his team this time. I don't know why it's not worked, and maybe is backed off massively. That's not ideal. But anyway, is anybody on a competitive lap? There is a Red Bull coming towards the line, is that? No. What about the Alfa Romeo of Gusk? Is he coming to the end of the lap here? He's invalid, so that doesn't matter. In that case, across the line is someone has retired. It is Blitzstream. There's a Red Bull next to him. He is in the wall on the exit 3. That is an unusual place to be in there, but an easy one to hit for sure. Next car across the line is Magnus, I believe. He's starting a lap now. Days is just starting one too, as Bossan has gone off there. I don't know how he's managed that. Right, 1 second again. Sorry, I am back once again, and we are about to have, hopefully, oh, what's happened there? He seems to have got lost. That is terribly unfortunate, and that's a reset to track, which, if anyone clocks onto that report, that is a penalty for him, though I'm sure he won't mind at the moment, because he is 4.7 seconds off the pace, and might not make too much of a difference, though I'm sure he has a bit more pace than at the moment. Okay, 1 second again. Right, sorry, I'm back again. So, do we have any cars on lap at the moment? Both Red Bulls are on track. I don't think Days is on. That was a glitch, honestly. Not so we'll see what Days is able to do. I believe his teammate of Hyper is also on at the moment. So, watching him as he's a bit further along the track, just going through the new straight line section now. You'd think there'd be DRS there, honestly, given, you know, it's basically the same as the other DRS straight, and longer than one of the other DRS straights, but nonetheless, Hyper is going to pit, so never mind. Hopefully though, Days is, I mean, his light's flashing, so he's either got no RS and he's a race. Okay, I need to try and get them to stop all racing with a number 7. It's a bit annoying. Is Days gonna pit? Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate. So, next car across the line, in that case, should be the Aston Martin of Sam Ascaria, who raced last time out and was very close to scoring points on his Tier 2 debut. He's going to piss as well. No one seems to be improving on these laps. What of Hallman, the returning driver, and the absolute fan favourite of when the league was in its days of WLR, not WLR, that's what it is now. CTCR. Hallman was just, he was Tier 2 legend. I mean, I will never forget when he got that podium. It was just beautiful. But that's technically a different league now, even though they've both merged. This is a merger of that league and another one. which doesn't really matter because this is technically a fresh slate. It's a new season. But yeah, I'm just going to try and sort out getting Rouster into the lobby one. Right, sorry, I am back again, riding on board with Bosson, though he is not listed across the line. That honour, I believe, goes to the Williams of Dizzy, who is on a lap at the moment. This might be his final lap in the session. Coming up to the line, he's going to improve by a tenth and a half and keep his P3 a little bit more comfortable, but not quite able to get up to the two drivers at the top. Now, I don't think he'll get another lap in this session. That is most likely his qualifying over now, but P3 would not be bad for a debut in a Williams team that has basically had one driver for the entire season. Of course, Mipio has more points than any other constructor, and that says enough about his season and how it works a bit oddly with reserves. Oh, also, if you have not noticed yet, and you are currently racing in Tier 2, and you have not looked at Discord, I finally put the standings up just now, so you can have a cheeky look at that. But anyway, so, only driver on a lap at the moment is the House of Bossan, and for his final lap in the session, I am assuming, as he's going to come up to the line, and he is going to improve to P10. Not bad for his second race in Tier 2, and I believe he's usually a Tier 3 driver, so anything he does here is just a bonus. Next car across the line is going to be, there is quite a big gap actually, as Rick Yex has binned it. The closest man to Mipio in the championship seems to have face planted a wall somewhere. Or has he retired on track? I really can't tell. Anyway, next car across the line is, well, Dizzy is going to now pit. King of All just starting his last lap in the session now. Mipio is at turn 1 starting his final lap in the session. First car across the line though is going to be the Mercedes of, where is he? Oh no, that's Magnus starting his final lap. So we will ride on board with Sam Ascaria on his final lap in the session. He's currently slowest and a 10th down on his best so far, but we'll see what he can do into this final sector, potentially adamant. Oh, and he's gone straight on. Oh no, Holman's binned it, no! Holman, oh that's sad. Ah well, game's game. Anyway, we'll ride on board then with Gus, who has invalidated his final lap in the session. He is not going to improve. Next car across the line though is the Red Bull of Days. He's been really unlucky this season, but had some good pace. Same story for both Red Bulls really. Both of them great pace, but been unlucky this whole year. Let's see if Singapore is any different though, as we go around the final corner. Can Days take pole? He goes P7, but only 9/10 off. Good luck from him there. What of the other Red Bull of Hyper through the final corner? Can he do it? He can do it! Goes fastest with a 28.9. First man in the 28s. Great lap there. Next car across the line is Bossan, who's 25 seconds down on his lap. He won't improve. Can Mipio deny Hyper coming up to the line? He can with a 28.8. That is a really competitive lap. What of the King of All? He stays 6th fastest, a second off. Final man across the line though is Magnus, and he is 3/10 up. He could just have it here. Potentially a front row, potentially pole. Through the final corner, what can he do? And he goes on to pole. We didn't see the time there, but that was a great end to qualifying. So, Magnus is, I think that's his 3rd or 4th pole of the season now. At 28.5, that's quite good. That might compete for a tier 1 fastest lap of the weekend there. I'm sure George Johnson will have something to say about that. But 28.583 is a very good lap there. I think Magnus can be happy with that. Going through the field though, we've got Magnus on pole from Mipio and Hyper, who were both on provisional pole at one point. Followed by Dizzy, great for his first wet race for Williams, and they finally have someone up there. Then Ricky X, who DNF'd, but is V5, King of All, Days, Gusk, Holman, Bossan, Blitztroop, and Samascaria. But once again, it looks like Mipio's in a good position to potentially extend that one streak of he wins every single time I commentate. So I'm gonna have a cup of tea, and then we'll be back for the rain. Right, that is one cup of tea absolutely downed. So I'm just gonna try and oh, I forgot to invite that guy. Oh, I'm an idiot. I don't think he can join now. Oh, Holman. What? Oh, please don't tell me the lobby's desynced. That'd be tragic. Yep. Okay, Holman needs an invite. The absolute legend himself. If he wins this race, I mean, that would be clinical. I mean, just Holman, if right, I'm not biased, but if Holman wins, it's a good day. Of course, Mipio will win because I'm commentating. It's the curse, and you can't get past the curse. But I mean, it'll end someday, surely. So, anyway, 5 lights for the Singapore Grand Prix. The glitch remains, but not that long this week as it's quick for lights out. Great start from Magnus, I think, but Mipio looks alongside into turn 1, and he is ahead into turn 1, round the outside. Bit of contact there, and who's spun in the background? I think that was Hyper. Has had a spin. Great start from him, stayed third, but has had a spin. But anyway, Magnus still side by side with Mipio into turn 4, and they're still side by side somehow not crashing each other. Ricky X has had a great start getting up to third. Dizzy, I think, might have had contact with Hyper. He's also dropped down. Ricky X stays third. Magnus, though, loses the lead to Mipio there. I managed to miss it. Classic me. King of All with a good start has got up to 4th. Days as well, 5th. But really not the best race for Hyper and Dizzy already. The Red Bull bad luck continues. I don't know. Okay, Holman is an invite. 1 second. So, anyway, Mipio once again leads the way here in Singapore, closely followed by Magnus though. Just have a quick look at the starting tyres. Both of them are on the hards, which is interesting. Ricky X behind on the mediums will definitely now play a part in this, at least in the early stages. And we might finally see an overtake into this kind of new corner, new complex at least, because of the construction work that has unfortunately made the track slightly less exciting because less corners for people to crash in. But potentially more overtakes in a straight line. Anyway, Mipio leads the way over the flag on lap 1 of this race, closely followed by Magnus. Bit of contact between them throughout the first few turns. Ricky X, great start from him up to P3, followed by the King of All and Days, who both moved up because of the incidents with Hyper, who doesn't seem to have damage, and also the new Williams obviously on his day, great qualifying, and he's got past the Blitztroop going the wall. That's a big camera. Where's that camera car? I think Blitz might have gone in the wall there. Got some damage? No, he did go very wide though. And now Holman is right on the back of him. Holman, who did disconnect unfortunately, but he now does have to go for a recovery. Of course, it's very possible at Singapore where if we make this race without a safety car, I mean, it won't happen in all honesty. There will be at some point. If they don't have a safety car, beautiful. But in classic Mipio fashion, he has pulled a gap currently larger than the DRS. Is that Ricky X? There's a yellow flag there. Someone has gone off. I think, is it? I think it's the Haas of Bossan. I don't know what's happened to it. Oh, he's lost an end plate there. Potentially going straight on. Oh, and he's hit Blitztroop there as well. Can't really blame him with the front wing damage, it'd be impossible. But heading on to lap 2, Mipio now leads with an almost 1 second gap from Days. What's happened to Ricky X here? Oh, he's hit the wall somewhere. And there pretty much goes Ricky X's chances of a win. And Mipio now surely is going to leave this race with potentially even a gap worth 2 race wins. He could win the championship at the next race if that were the case. So, moving back to the front though, Mipio does still lead now. Magnus is closing back up on him though, as we get onto the 3rd lap. Bit of a gap starting to form where Days is, though I think Ricky X grabbing his damage did push them further back a bit. King Ball hanging on to him. Gusk having a great debut, running in 5th so far. Followed by Hyper, who, despite that spin, has already recovered 6th. And I don't think you can count him out just yet, because he is on the hards. Though it must be said, most drivers are. In fact, the mediums are barely used at all. As is VSC, what's happened? Who has? Somebody has binned it. Who is it this time? Is it Blitztroop? I don't think Blitztroop has a front wing. And actually that's the other Williams of Dizzy. Also, both of these cars here have got no front wing at all. What on earth has gone on there? So these two must have gone bowling somewhere. But that is, I mean, Dizzy's debut has gone from bad to worse there. He might be feeling a bit dizzy after that one. As Days has come into this, has he got damage as well? Or is he just taking, I think he's taking a strategy risk here. That is a bold risk. So Days will probably, oh, it's a full safety car. Days could be in a, Days might win, you know, if those hards make the end and we don't have another safety car. I think Days might be in prime position to win this race. Because, yeah, he's going to have essentially a pit stop gap to the rest of the field. This has also put the rest of these guys on Dizzy, on Bossan, of Ricky X2, Samascaria, Blitzstream. They're all in a great position now, except for those on the mediums, of potentially getting to the end of the race. Now, I'm not completely certain if we might have any rain forecast. It is Singapore, so it's always possible. But as it stands, Days is in a great position here. Even, I mean, Hyper is now, that spin is not so important anymore. He's right back up to nearly where he started. The King of all now up to 3rd. He thought he had good pace. He thought he had pace at tier 1. He's showing it at the moment. Gusk with a brilliant debut as well. Not raced in this tier before. Don't know if he's raced in this league before. He's up to P4. That was very close between them either way. Hyper though is now in a very good position. It'll be interesting to see if anyone else chooses to pit. Maybe Bossan or Dizzy will box again for another set of hards, depending on how quickly they catch the safety car. Looks like they're all being a bit held up here at the moment. Though that could just be the Delta time. I don't know if Delta is on anymore though. But Ricky X might have just been saved there. I think he might just recover now. Of course, he doesn't have another set of hard tyres, so he's got to stay on these. But he might be able to bring himself back into this. I don't think you can completely count him out just yet. Of course, the two that you definitely can't count out are the two at the front, which currently is still Mipio and Magnus. Of course, they can't really change under the safety car. Oh, well, I mean, you say that, but last week we did have a really change in the safety car. Because Ricky X got absolutely murdered by a back marker for I don't know what he did it for. I think the back marker was angry that he was lapped and decided to take that one out on Ricky X for lapping him, which inevitably did lose Ricky X that race, you could argue. Of course, in the end, shock horror, Mifio won. Who could have saw that coming when I commentate? Definitely not cursed that has happened and stuck every single race. So if Mifio wins it, I should probably change down. Also, I think I might have got the race number wrong. So, this is round 2. So Mifio has won 5 races so far. That's the only 5 races I've commentated. Of the 2 races I didn't commentate, he either didn't compete or finished 5th, which it sucks. And of those 2 races that I didn't commentate, Ricky X won with only 2 race wins this season. So as it stands, Mipio has a 40-point gap. If he scores, he only needs to outscore Ricky X by 10 points over the next 2 rounds to win the championship at the next... No. How does this work? No, he needs to outscore Ricky X by 12 points over the next 2 rounds to win the championship. He can't win it here. He can get very, very close, but the safety car is going to be in this lap, so we'll forget about championship antics for a second and focus on race winning antics. And hopefully not crashing antics, but then again that'd be interesting, so maybe crashing antics. I wouldn't mind it. But anyway, safety car has peeled in, so we'll see where Mipio chooses to go, and I think he has already gone there into the final corner. Great restart. Already about 6 tenths ahead of Magnus, though very out of the last corner. Looking behind, King of All now under pressure from Gusk into turn 1. He's going to take the inside and just stay ahead there on braking. Holman has picked up a penalty, I'm not sure that was, as King of All also picks up a 3-second time penalty. Very easy to exceed track limits here because of, I mean, you'd think the walls would be a barrier, but that white line is just a bit too close to annoy. Anyway, so Mipio still leads the way from Magnus, then King of All. We have a bit of a fight between Days and Holman here. I think that's Holman going into turn 4, maybe 4, 5 probably. Anyway, we're not out of that now, and Days has got ahead. Holman though, now letting past his teammate of Ricky X. Of course, Ricky X is potentially challenging for the championship. Of course, Mipio does have a massive advantage, but Ricky X is very much still in it if he can win a few races. Of course, he wants to, so good teamwork from the Alpines there as Holman face plants a wall. That is not the ideal strategy, as someone else has face planted that very same wall, and it is Bossan for the 2nd time in this race has lost the right end plate in the same wall. So there's a nice little collection of Haas end plates in turn, let's just guess a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, turn 10, I'm going with 10, that's my guess. Has Dizzy had an incident there? No, but he is side by side with Samascaria for the last corner. As we look to the front actually, Magnus is very close on the back of Mipio as he has a massive slide coming out of turn 2 there. Or is that 3? Oh, this track's confusing. Anyway, I should probably revise this before races happen. But going up into turn 4, 5, I'm going to go with 5. Mipio does still lead. Magnus is really close behind as Mipio goes off there. That is probably a warning for track limits already. We'll check those in a second once the race starts to settle down a bit more. But the closest battle on track at the moment is the one for the lead. That is exactly what you love to see. So we'll stick with these guys for now. Riding on board with Magnus. Let's get some telemetry on because I kind of forgot about that. So if you look at the moment, Magnus has a lot of ERS. Mipio about 20% less. King of All sitting very low on about 10%. And then Gusk a bit higher on 40, same with Hyper. And Days sitting really high on 76. Of course, Days technically doesn't have to stop again. Whether his tyres can make the end or not, it's not too clear. Anyway, it's yellow in sector 3. Someone else has binned it. Who is it this time? It's Samascaria. I think he might have gone straight on there. Doesn't look he's actually got damage, but we'll keep an eye on this battle for the front at the moment, as Mipio is massively under pressure from Magnus here, who's only 2 tenths behind with DRS enabled here. I mean, I don't know what can really stop Magnus from getting this move on the next straight, unless Mipio absolutely dumps his battery, though he's already down quite a bit as we've got another yellow flag. What has happened this time? But we're not going to look at it for now. As we see potentially a move from Magnus here, he chooses to think better of it for now. As we've got 3 cars in the pit lane. Holman's lost his wing, Samascaria has not lost his wing but is pitting the tyres, and Bossan has, let me guess, lost his wing? He's lost his wing, that is Singapore for you. So, looking back to the fight at the front, Magnus still right on the back on Mipio with a lot more air at the moment as well. Then just a gap starting to form between the King Ball and Daze has got past Hyper there. How did that happen? As Hyper spun, has he been rear-ended there? I think potentially by Ricky X. I think Hyper might have been hit there. I'm not sure if Ricky has damage. That might be an indicator. I'll just take a quick 30-second clip so we can have a little incident review in just a second. I don't think that will show on the stream, but we can have a look at it anyway. But that is not going to be helpful for Ricky X's championship challenge. He needs to outscore Mipio here if he wants to keep it within the realms of possibility, and it's not going his way at the moment. What is going his way though is Mipio potentially losing the lead, as Magnus is right on the back of him. Of course, Magnus looked very much on for a win at one of the other street tracks this season, that being Saudi Arabia, until he face planted turn 3 and then was very much not on for the win. That lost him a 3-second lead, but he's going to get the lead back here potentially into turn 5 or 4, whatever you call it, but he's not quite able to get the move. Potentially lower downforce from Mipio. It's not very clear to see. I think he hit the wall there, did he? Zen plate does look good for now, but this win is, if it is a win for Mipio, it's definitely not a comfortable one like they have been at some previous wins. So, looking down the rest of the grid at the moment, Hyper and Ricky X both quite a bit further back now after that incident that involved the two of them. Hyper is all over the place at the moment with his rear tyres. Dizzy though, now back up to P6, I think is where he started. So he's had a decent recovery. No, he started 4th. But still, good recovery from him so far in what's his first race in Tier 2. Did Ricky X and Hyper going side by side there actually. And we are going to see our first side by side action on the new straight. Lovely stuff. But we're not really, because Ricky X is more than a full car ahead before that corner. Who is not a full car ahead though is Mipio and Magnus, who are very much still fighting at the front. I should probably keep more of an eye on this because the change for lead is pretty important there. Magnus is right on the back of Mipio. Will he finally be able to go for a move this lap? Mipio has got 30% less ERS, but Magnus is only using a bit, but he's gonna get ahead anyway with the DRS on the inside into turn 4/turn 5, depending on if you count the flat outright. And Magnus retakes his lead, which he lost into turn 1. The question is, can he pull away? So as it stands, sorry about that break, Magnus does lead the way from Mipio. King of all is still holding on to P3, though Gusk has now been passed by Daze. Daze is of course on the freshest tyres of these lot. He could go to the end, as Magnus, not really pushing on the ERS here, but is already way ahead of Mipio potentially. I mean, Mipio did very well in qualifying, so I don't know if this is on pace, or if potentially he's picked up some damage there somewhere, or maybe just running lower downforce. That can really hinder you at a track like this. Looking further back, King of all is really under pressure from Daze now. Daze, who has a great chance of winning this race if he can get those tyres to the end. it would be great to see. As into turn one, is he going to go for the move? No, he thinks better of it just there. King of all, going a bit wide. There's the yellow flag in. Oh, not there, far back. I think we had an incident between Sam Scaria and Bossan, who are currently making the fight for the wooden spoon one to watch, though I'm sure they don't want to watch it back. But still, I think they're both tier 3 drivers. This race is more of a bit of fun for them, as Days there has got past King of All and I completely missed it. Classic me, as we do actually have some side-by-side action between Ricky X and the new driver of Dizzy. Williams, who do finally have a good second driver to back up what Mipio has been doing for them, but at the moment he's falling further back, though still he's had a very good debut so far, and does, I think if he finishes 7th, he'll score more points than all the other Williams drivers so far. Anyway, so looking down the rest of the grid, Days now is, oh, Mipio's got a 3-second penalty. Surely then the curse will be broken, because at a track like this, if no one else gets a, well, if Magnus and Days don't get penalties for the rest of this, Mipio is for once in a position where he might not win a race I commentate. Now, I'm not going to say wouldn't that be lovely, because that would be biased, but we would love a bit of variety. Of course, Mipio will just win next week instead, when I'll probably commentate. But still, we've got another yellow flag. Have they binned it again at the same corner? Yep, so Sam Ascaria and Bossan, they've had issues at the same corner again. I'm just going to leave them to it, honestly. Magnus, though, is really pulling out a gap at the moment, and he's not even using much ERS. I think he's just... He likes street tracks. He's always been good at street tracks. And I think here, he might finally convert that into a win. I mean, that would be great to see. But I'm sure Mipio wouldn't like that. Interestingly, Days, of course, on his fresher tyres, is now starting to close a bit up to Mipio as well. And I think he's just maintaining that gap to Magnus. Of course, if Days does not have to pit again, not completely sure what the tyre wear is like, he will probably win this race, because it would be very difficult to recover the full gap. Of course, he does have the option to be a bit more flexible with his fresher tyres than the other drivers around him. We'll see what happens with that, though. It would be interesting to see if he can get these to the end. I would love to try and see him just at least try, though punctures are on, of course, because it is sim damage, so he does have to be careful of that one. But he is keeping that gap to Mipio and Magnus pretty much constant. As long as he doesn't lose too much time, he's in with a great shot here. Behind them, the King of All is running a great race so far in P4, closely followed by Gusk, who's still also running a great debut race in the league. Ricky X now back up to P6 after his second incident. I think Hyper must have got damaged somewhere. I didn't notice that. But Hyper is now 20 seconds further back than anyone, setting the fastest lap, though he did go a little bit wide there, it must be said. That's definitely a warning. But Hyper, I mean, unless he can somehow make a 2-stop work, I think that might be race over for him, as we can see Holman get past pit street, come into the pits for, I believe, his second stop in this race, and of course, it being Singapore, it's a wing change. Now there is a surprise. Anyway, looking back to the front, we have our first lapped car of the race, being Bossan. He has finally been overtaken by Magnus after 13 laps, who is still pulling away from Mipio at quite a bit a lap, almost a second, I think. That's incredible pace from Magnus at the moment. Days is just starting to drop back a little bit further, but he is well clear of the King of All now, and we've got a safety car. What has gone on there? Who has binned it? Magnus has gone past the... Oh. That's not good. Magnus has gone past the pits. He cannot benefit from the safety car. And now everybody's going to close up behind him, and oh, that could not be more unlucky for Magnus. Days has stayed out. I think he's going to try and get them tyres to the end. But now Magnus is stuck. Oh dear. Oh no. So once again, despite everything I said, I think Mibio is going to be your net race leader. Ah well. I mean, I'm not biased. You've got to be happy for Mibio. He might win 3 races in a row again. And every race I've commentated. I mean, you've got to feel bad for Magnus. If he hadn't pulled so far away, that wouldn't have been an issue with that safety car. Except now he's just stuck behind it, and there's nothing he can do. I mean, oh, that's so unlucky. I mean, yeah. Of course, he did have a brilliant pace. It's still possible that he can recover this, but yeah, that's so unlucky. So, let's have a little bit of, I mean, Jack's not here, but I'm going to steal tyre time. So, I mean, it's very much his thing. I don't know if he just talks things. He started watching F1 this year, so he kind of just guesses with what the letters say. He can't make a strategy for the life of him. But he says things anyway. But as it stands, Magnus, I don't know if he'll pit or not. I can imagine he'll try, and he is going to try. Probably gonna go for mediums, but has he been so okay? Oh, so Magnus is out. What? How? Right. So Mibio is now basically in that region leader, unless Days can somehow get behind. Magnus didn't qualify. Trying to hit make sense. Why is oh, that's such a stupid PS2 game. But I mean, we'll just put past it now. But anyway, Days is currently a race leader, though he is on very old hard tyres. So him trying to keep that will be, I mean, essentially what's his boss. Him keeping that lead is, I mean, it's basically impossible in all honesty. Why are these two racing? What's happened to the people up? Just forgotten to drive, or what? I don't know what's gone on there. I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen. So anyway, Days will be your race leader once this restarts for about a second until... What happened there? What's going on? Does the lobby shit itself? Ah, okay, I think that's a restart. What is... What? I don't understand what's happened. Right, okay. Yeah, the lobby's broke. We're having a restart, so Magnus is in the good position once again. Possibly, I'm not sure how to do this. So, yep, that's not ideal, but I'll make a new lobby now. Why does the game do this? It's so annoying. Right. Well, that's just stupid. Right, so yeah, we're gonna switch. I'm just gonna have to start the lobby now. Yeah, we'll have to switch to a 25% race. Oh, that's so annoying. Right, I'm just gonna go on mute. That's all. Right, that's finally sorted. I swear to God, if I've not got the grid right, I mean, it'll just be tragic, but no worst in the one position. I'm fairly sure it will. Anyway, so, after the game decided to shit itself, we will have 15 laps of racing. Technically we could do a 35%, but that would not work for time for some people. In case you're on stream, you do still need a pits, that otherwise you'll be disqualified. So we're now gonna have an almost certain soft medium strategy from everyone. It kind of resets. Hopefully people remember their setups. If they don't, then I mean sad times, but what can you do? Hopefully less people bin it this time. I don't think we actually had a DNF in the last one, but we've managed to get 2 safety cars and a virtual safety car. So hopefully it all works fine. Anyway, we will finally get underway. I mean, any second now. We have to wait for people to put setups on, so it will be a bit longer than usual. Still, I mean, could be worse. Could be an Alfa Romeo fan. Actually, I am. That doesn't insult anyone but me, because there's only like 3 of us. Anyway, so I think Magnus should be on pole, unless I've done it wrong, which is very possible. Then it should be Mipio, followed by King of All, starts third. Then, no, Day starts third. Then the King of All. Gusk would be 5th, but he had to go. Then Ricky X, then somebody else, I can't remember after that. But we will find out in just a second, and I'm sure it will all be tipped on its head. As we are here for the Singapore Grand Prix again. It is 5 lights and it's lights out and away we go. Hyper has got to drive through. It goes from bad to worse for the Red Bull man. But regardless, Magnus with a great start this time, but goes very deep into turn 1. That's surely already a warning. Have people got penalty? Oh, that was drive-throughs. So Magnus leads from Mipio. Days with a great start, stays first. It's not a great start actually, it's just a good start, but he's really under pressure from the King of All at the moment. Then comes Ricky X, good start from him, followed by Dizzy. But we'll keep an eye on King of All. Mipio very close to Magnus, but King of All going around the outside of Days. He can't quite get it done. Days stays ahead there as the 2 Alpines are going side by side in the background. Ricky X staying ahead of Holman. Hyper with a massive bit of oversteer there. Somebody has binned it, and shock horror, it's Bossan. There's a surprise. Magnus still leads from Mipio, then Days, the King of All in P4, followed by Dizzy, Ricky X, Holman, Rouster, who wasn't here in the first part of the race. You may notice he was meant to be, he couldn't join, he's been able to join now. We'll see what he can do in this race. We don't know his pace yet, he is a bit of an unknown. As we see King of All getting past Days there, they're still side by side. We're finally side by side on the new straight for all of a second. No, we're side by side again, and we're going to see a move into the kind of new section. Oh, there's contact there. Days I think might have hit the wall, and the McLaren hitting to the side of Days could be damage for both of them, as Magnus does lead the way over the line. And here goes Dizzy going past Days, and he's up to P3. That is a great debut so far for Dizzy, and Williams finally have 2 cars up at the front instead of just the 1. This is great for them, though that's not biased at all, and I'm going to try not to be. We've got yellow in sector 3 again. Bossan has found a new way to bin it. I think this time he was trying to get into the pits to serve his drive-through. As we see Days, I think being passed by the King of All there. Ricky X is right on the back of this battle. But we've got a great battle here for P3. This second half of the race is already so much better than the first. Of course, they do still all have to hit in this race, so we will have a decent amount of strategy to look forward to. I'm sure most people will go for the softs. Speaking of people on the softs at the moment, it is literally just no one else has got through. So he should, ooh, got contact there. There's Days very slow there. Has he got damage? I don't know. I don't think Ricky X has it either. He's very close on the back of the Red Bull here. Potentially going for a bit of a lunge into turn 11. Probably 11. Andy Ricky X gets the position, not giving us any cheeky side-by-side action on the new straight. Doing a little bit of side action on the new straight. But in all honesty, it'll probably get old pretty quick. At the moment though, Magnus is out in front again. Not disqualified this time, you love to see it. Mipio though, not as far back this time, very much keeping with him. And then Dizzy is very close to this battle. It'd be interesting to see him get in the mix of it, as Bossan has yet again found a new way to bin it. I mean, he's just having fun at this point. If we now, well, by we I mean me, because I forgot, turn on lap data and telemetry, we can see that at the moment Magnus is sitting pretty on 70% DRS, Mipio a bit further down on 50, and he's definitely got a warning for going off track there. He has a massive rear blocking moment into turn, number 6 is the number, and he's now actually falling into the clutches of his teammate a bit, who is massively under pressure from the McLaren of the king of all. He's having a great second half. Did one of them hit the wall there? I think one of these two might just hit the wall. I'm going into turn, what, this one, 10, we're going with 10. I'm going to guess this is we see the ball right on the back of Dizzy with DRS, and he's going to go for a lunge into 11. Lots of contact there. Dizzy does stay ahead, but the ball still right on the back of him. Ricky X is now closing on the battle on the soft tyres. You get that to Davies. Oh, I saw that actually. At the moment though, Dizzy just staying ahead of the ball. He's now somewhat falling into Ricky X on the soft tyre. That is the battle we really have on track at the moment, apart from Holman and Hyper fighting over the wooden spoon. So, we'll keep an eye on this, as Magnus is still just extending his advantage out front. That is, I mean, not too much of a surprise. He's had great pace on street tracks, and this here is no different at all, as Rouster picks up the first 3-second time penalty of this race, but he's 12 seconds ahead of the next car, so I doubt we'll be too worried. As we see into turn, what number is that? 4, King of All going very much off the track there, side by side with Dizzy, nearly putting him in the wall there, just enough space on the outside, still side by side into 5 and 6, and there's a lot of contact there, and both of those cars are in the wall. I guess not got damage. I think they've both somehow got away with that. They don't look like they've got much damage though. He's gone very slow there. That is not great for either of their races though. And Ricky X is up to 3rd, though he is really under pressure from Days at the moment. Someone has gone off in sector 2 again. It's the king of all. I think he's gone off for a second time. Hasn't done damage. I can't get a decent camera. No, but he's going. Does he have what? Does he get out of fuel or something? What's going on there? I mean, he's full throttle and just not really move it. Is he got a puncture? I don't know. Oh, he's got a puncture. Oh, we find. I mean, not that I'm happy for it. That is the first time we've actually seen a puncture in this season. I mean, we love to see it. I mean, it's a heartbreaking moment, but you've got to remember this on this a bit more. That is, I mean, that is tragic for this race. I don't think he can recover that now. That is probably his quickest walk to plus like, you know, to go out of the record behind Bossan, just at the moment lapped 1 minute 32 seconds behind the next car. Looking forward though, Nipio, he's not got the pace of Magnus. I think he knew that. So his streak, unless Magnus face plants another wall, is most likely going to come to an end here. The curse will finally be lifted of Mipio winning every race that I commentate, which would be 6 if he managed to do it here. Ricky X though, still in a good position with DRS off, who was that? Ah, he got DRS off Bossan, you to see it. Now pulling away from Days a bit more. I don't think those softs have gone off just yet. Of course, everyone does have to pit. Adds a little bit of caution to the wind. That's another phrase. Why would I say that? Forget that happened. Just forget that happened. Anyway, Magnus is having a lovely time. I'm sure nothing will go wrong with him this time, except for that massive flower slide, though it looked quite cool. Oh, that's not funny. Oh my god, I can't believe this. Forget that. That didn't happen. I mean, no, I think it's fine. I just sound like a mental case. Anyway, Ricky X, those softs, I think starting to fall for a bit. He might hit this lap because tyre wear is very high around here. He will get a massive undercut on Mipio. Mipio will be going quite a bit longer, probably 3-4 laps longer than Ricky X if he pits this lap. So we will get to see what happens. Oh god, there's 8 people watching. I really do sound like a mental case then. Ricky X, for the moment, I don't know. I mean, he's sort of keeping... Oh, is that Bosanic? Oh, he's finally binned it this time. And there is a safety car. So, everyone's got a pit. That's not much of a surprise. Not ideal for Holman, who is in the pit lane and now currently behind the safety car. I mean, that's a little bit annoying. But that actually puts Ricky X in a brilliant position, in all honesty. It is going to be very difficult to get the softs comfortably to the end from lap 6. So Ricky X, who's surely going to pit for the mediums here, is actually in quite a good position to potentially win this race, which would be exactly what he needs to try and keep this championship going on for a little bit longer. None of them have got penalties. Magnus, no surprise there, is going for the softs. Will Mithio do the same? We will see just here. Yep, Mithio going for the softs. Unsurprisingly, Ricky X going for the mediums. Days, I can just look at the tyre graph, I don't need to look at others. Days also has gone for the softs. Dizzy will see in a second, because Williams are that much further down the lane, going for the softs. Yep. Rouse also going for the softs, no surprise there. Dizzy actually has front wing damage, that must be from the contact with the King of All. I'm tired. Oh god, that was a really weird yawn. A bit unsurprising. I mean, I'm not saying the race is boring, it's very exciting, but sometimes it just happens. So, I mean, the safety cars, I mean, well, how many have we had now? Like 3, 4, it's not ideal. I mean, our Bossan is pretty much useless because of the gravity left. It's weird because he had a really good race in China. I'm not sure if it's showing not much practice, but it's just not been a great weekend. Maybe it's a setup issue because he did have a really good race last time out in China. So we'll see what he can do next week. But nonetheless, Magnus this time has not been murdered by a safety car. I'm not sure if we'll be adding the 3-second time penalties from the first half of the race to this half. I'll have to ask management about that one. But I think it would only be fair because otherwise you kind of gain from in the first race and not have to deal with any repercussions in the second, but you could get rid from it. So I'll have to ask about that one. I'm not completely sure how that would work, but I'll ask anyway. Sorry. I've got number 6 like every day this week, it's really not ideal. Anyway, I'll try not to yawn for the rest of the race. It's very exciting. God, I'm just speaking to myself. It's really weird. See, there's one way I need one of the commentators to actually I just spoke Jack. If he actually turned up for once, because he says he's going to turn up every week, so I think, oh, yeah, great. and then he has something, which is absolutely, I don't know, I think his excuse this week is a birthday party. Of course, you've got to have your priorities right. WLR is more important than anyone's birthday, clearly. So, yeah, it's just blasphemy, honestly. Anyway, let's finally do a bit. I mean, I'm too tired tonight. There's precisely one man who is not on the softs, and that is Ricky X. He's gone for the mediums. Could be very good towards the end of the race, because those softs will shape themselves very crucial one to them. It's accurate, so I don't know how much he'll lose initially on the mediums, though. I don't think we can know just yet, but in honesty, Magnus's pace has been so good that I think he could be on hard and go very well with this. Though I'm sure, given the curse is real, Mipio will somehow win this. I'm not really sure. We'll see what happens. So, safety car will finally begin this lap, and we will have 7 laps of racing. There's a rocket. What's gone on here? Looks like there was a load of contact there. We'll just pretend that didn't happen, because this is a professional racing league, which is why we have 10 cars racing. So, Magnus is going to lead the way off the safety car restart. That's a shock. Now whether he can keep it on the soft tyres, if he is as quick on that tyre or not, we will soon see. Mipio in behind him, followed by Ricky X, his championship contender. I believe it's just those two that can still win the championship. But Magnus has gone already, and Mipio looks like he's got a very good restart there. He's very close to Magnus. Hyper picking up a 3-second time penalty there. And I think Days Rouster has lost out. He's had poor restart. Ricky X though, still right on the back of the two ahead. Mipio keeping with Magnus much better this time so far. So we'll see what happens there, as someone has spun. It is Sam Sky. But still, Magnus leads the way from Mipio, from Ricky X, from Days, from Dizzy. Rouster didn't have a great restart. He's dropped 2 positions already. Then Hyper and the King of All going side by side into turn 4/5/6. I've not decided yet. And King of All is going to get that position, but a brilliant switchback from Hyper there. I mean, that was lovely, honestly. It was beautiful. That one's going to get recorded. Anyway, Hyper with a lovely switchback is now up to P7. Of course, he started 3rd in the first race, so he's not too happy with it at the moment. Oh, Mipio's got a penalty. Well, that is interesting. That could well, I mean, that's surely that means he's finally not going to win a race I commentate. Not that I don't want him to win, but just that it would be a little bit more interesting. So, as it stands, Ricky X, as expected on his mediums, has initially fallen back a bit. It'll be interesting to see if, as the softs wear out, if he can come back towards the end of the race. But for the moment, Mipio, in the second half of the race, is a new driver. He's much quicker than he was on this first stint, and he's right on the back of Magnus here, where Magnus has picked up end plate damage somewhere potentially. Oh no, that's what it is. But Mipio is really pushing it here. Bit less ERS than Magnus at the moment, but not much. Mipio just, I think, is driving a little bit harder than he was in the first stint. He's not letting Magnus get away this time. Of course, that penalty is going to be an issue towards the end of this race. He will have to not only overtake, but quite a gap, which with Magnus's pace, I don't know if that's possible. Of course, Magnus could also pick up a penalty. That would make it a lot easier for Mipio. It would make it even easier for Ricky to lose the rear end. Yeah, he's had a massive loss of the rear end there actually. That might put him out of DRS and Magnus, and that's surely just rubbing salt in the wound from that penalty that he's already picked up. So Ricky X might be able to get back into this now, as Magnus has in fact broken DRS. Mipio is really burning through his ERS here, down to 20%. No, I'm not. I'm refusing to yawn. It's not happening. This is exciting. I'm enjoying this. I'm not yawning. So Magnus once again does lead, only by 1.1 seconds this time, not as much as he usually has in other stints, and he's got a penalty. Ricky X could be on for a win here if those mediums do come back to him towards the end of this, and he can get past Mipio potentially. If Ricky X doesn't get a penalty, I think he could be on for the win. Let's just check race director. He does have one warning, but so far on this medium stint he hasn't picked up any. So Ricky X at the moment is close by about 4 tenths to winning. Of course, those softs should still be quicker for now, so it will be difficult for him to stay within that 3 seconds. But it will add a bit of something towards the end of this race. Magnus is really going to have to push now if he wants to win this race. He needs to get away from Ricky X, and he has at the moment got over that 3 second gap. I'll keep it on the leader gap for you, so you can see what's happening, as we've got another yellow flag in sector 2. This time it is Sam Ascarian. Looking down the rest of the grid, have we got any fights at the moment though? Dizzy is, no, I'm not young. It nearly happened there. So Rouster has got a little bit of a train at the moment, being followed by Hyper, the king of all, and Hallman just a little bit further back. The legend himself, Hallman, who will never be forgotten from that one Haas penalty after that one time Monza. Lovely stuff. Anyway, Ricky X is a bit far at the moment. Of course, those softs should probably drop off a little bit, so he might be able to get back to that 3 second window that he needs to potentially win this race. I'll just have a quick look if Magnus has got any warning since. So Ricky X still on just the 1. Magnus is on 3. What of Mipio? He's on 1, 2, 3. Oh, Mipio is only 1 warning away from a second penalty. Or is he not? So yeah, Mipio could, if he's not careful, get another penalty here. That would really ruin his race. So, lap 12 of this race. Ricky X is about 1 second unsafe to Magnus. Does need a bit more. Needs those softs to really drop off here if he wants a chance of winning this race. Of course, they didn't drop off massively in that first stint. I'm not sure if it will happen now. Of course, these guys up front have now gone almost as long as Ricky X did on his set of softs. So we'll see what happens with that. And Ricky X is just starting to gain a little bit. He's gained 2 attempts there, and we've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Is that Hyper? It is Hyper. I think, has he gone into the wall there? Potentially picked up a bit of front wing damage. But the Red Bull luck strikes again, and Hyper qualified brilliantly. Days also qualifying really well. This time it seems all the Red Bull bad luck has gone to Hyper. Nothing like real life at all. Days, however, is having a bit more fortune this weekend, currently running in a very strong P4. But he does, and that 5 second penalty may get removed. Days has. I don't know what caused it. If it was speeding, probably not. But we'll see. So, Ricky X is now about 1.3 out of where he needs to be to win this race. It's still possible, as someone has gone off in sector 2. It is the Alpha Tauri of Rouster who has had an incident there. Not ideal for his race, of course. I'm sure that he's just happy he was able to get into the race, because he did have some issues trying to join before this restart. From what I can tell, I think those mediums are starting to get just that little bit better than the softs again. I think Magnus is on a bit higher downforce, so that will definitely be helping him here. But Ricky X does seem to gain a little bit more towards the last sector because he doesn't really have any ERS at the moment. But the same can be said for both Magnus and Mipio. At the moment, Mipio has got another 3-second time penalty. That could be crucial. If Days gets his penalty removed, Mipio could be off the podium here. I think the curse is over. I think it's broken. And it's going to be broken by either Magnus or Ricky X here. Mipio needs a miracle if he wants to keep it going. Of course, it's not a curse for him, it's more of a blessing. But I'm gonna yawn again. It is. 1 second, I'm not going to mute. I'm very. This is very exciting. I'm just tired. Yeah, it's not boring at all. I mean, we've not got much on track racing at the moment. But Ricky X actually, I mean, in saying that, he's actually closing in on Mipio now. This, I mean, I don't think Ricky X is going to be able to win this. He needs to catch about 1.7 in 1 lap. Magnus is, I'm not trying to jinx it, he's fairly safe for the win at the moment. I think the real question here is, of course, Mipio will be behind Ricky X on penalties, but will Ricky X get ahead on track? He is well within the RSA. Those mediums should be a much better tyre at this point in the race. Mipio does have a bit of an ERS advantage going through the final corner though, with DRS onto the main straight. Doesn't look like Ricky X has got a great run there, but we'll see what happens coming out of turn 3 onto turn 4. That is where the overtaking happens here at this track. So we will see, can Ricky X finish P2 on track as well as after penalties? That is a terrible camera angle. Let's go on board and see what happens here. Ricky X with DRS up into turn 5. Is he going to get far enough alongside to go for a lunge? He just needs to go for a lunge well within that penalty range. I think at this point in the race, Magnus is very safe. Nothing can stop him from winning at this point, so we'll stay on board with this battle between these two. Looking further back, the king of all is under pressure from Hallman, who goes down the inside into turn 5, pushes the king of all off track, who still does stay ahead into 6. But we'll look back towards Ricky X and Mipio, who at the moment going through turn 10. Will Ricky X with DRS get a run down to 11? He should have better traction at this point with the medium tyre. Or maybe it will be on that fancy new straight that we have. Can Ricky X get a move done there? Going down into, is this turn 12 now, I think? Well, it doesn't matter because Mipio will be behind either way. But for the first time this season, he's finally done it. Magnus wins the Singapore Grand Prix to continue his street track brilliance. Mipio finally doesn't win. He comes across the line in second. He will finish third at the after penalties. Ricky X back onto the podium in second after the disappointing one that was last week, and he does outscore Mipio in the championship, which helps him. Dizzy comes home with a brilliant P4 after Days' penalty, finishes P5, though that penalty may get removed. The king of all, second race in the league, he had great pace, though it did come a bit undone with that puncture, but a great recovery to P6. Hallman finishes P7 on his, I think, debut in this league, because he wasn't previous ones. Rouster finishes P8 after not even being here for the first 15 laps, so I'm sure he can be proud of that. Then a pretty abysmal weekend for Hyper is going to end with wing damage and a penalty on the last corner to finish P9, and Sam Ascaria will eventually cross the line to come home in 10th. So, finally, he's had great pace on the street tracks this season. He's not won a race yet, but for our third different race winner in only, well, in about 8 races, Magnus finally wins a race in WLR from pole, and no surprise that it's on a street track. Mipio, finally the curse or blessing is broken. He does not win a race that I commentate. Ricky X, great recovery from him, comes home in second place. I'm sure he can't be too annoyed about that. He finally outscores Mipio. And yeah, that's a great podium of 3 drivers that will probably be in Tier 1 next season. So the final order is Magnus, who wins from pole with the fastest lap as well, leading every single lap. Then Ricky X finishes second after Mipio's penalties. Mipio finally not winning a race, I compensate, comes home in third, followed by Dizzy, who had a great debut for Williams in fourth. Williams finally with 2 drivers up there, followed by Days, who had a great recovery up to fifth. Then the king of all, Holman, in 7th on his debut. The king of all, sorry, I shouldn't gloss over him, had a great recovery after that puncture. He did a really good job there. Then we've got Rouster, who wasn't here for 15 laps, picked up a few points in 8th. Then Hyper, who had a really unlucky weekend, comes home in 9th, followed by Samascaria in 10th, and Bossan, the only non-finisher. So we will see you next week in that one track that everyone kind of loves, but realistically no one will finish. What track might that be, you think? It's I thought it was Monaco. It's not Monaco. It's just as bad though, because it's Azerbaijan. So Magnus is your winner for tonight, followed by Ricky X and Mipio. The championship at the top does close slightly heading into next weekend, which is Azerbaijan, with 4 rounds to go. The question is if Ricky X can catch Mipio at the top. We will see you next week though in Azerbaijan.